What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are back once again. We've had a bit of a hiatus, as you can understand, but we are back. This is going to be the first episode of our second season of the Turnpike Titans podcast. And boy, is there a plethora of different things to dive into tonight. I hope you have your best, most comfortable sweatpants on. I hope you're not tired and laying down in bed, because if you are, you might not stay up for this because we got a lot to dive into. So as always, I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Jared and Vinny, and we are we're going to dive right into this. We're not going to waste a second. As you all know, one of the biggest transactions in this team's history, or at least most infamous as it stands now, took place just a few nights ago when we traded the greatest receiver that this franchise has ever seen after his third year with the team for a virtual clone, or not virtual, but a guy who we hope could be a clone based on his skill set and size. But nevertheless, let's dive into the trade right off the bat. Jarrett, what's going through your mind when you see the initial Twitter? Because I found out from Twitter first. I'm sure both of you did as well. What was your first instant reaction when that news broke and it wasn't a dream and it wasn't a fake account?
Instantly, I'm sitting on the couch with my wife, and my brother always says, please do not go on Twitter and spoil the news of draft picks, spoilers, and all the other stuff. So me, when the Titans are on the clock, I get that anxiety. I have to scroll through Twitter. So I'm scrolling through Twitter, refreshing, and all of a sudden I see Adam Schefter pop the fucking AJ Brown news. I was in shock. I looked at my wife. I said, this can't be fucking real. I threw my phone. I almost had a reaction just like Vin, but she didn't record it, obviously, because she knows my reactions are crazy. So I'm standing up. I'm saying, what the fuck is going on? What's going on with AJ Brown? AJ Brown, we just got traded, blah, blah, blah. After all that went through, I said, holy shit, we lost the best receiver, like you said, since Derek Mason. But after the trade, all in all, I see the business standpoint, like I was telling you guys on Twitter the whole time. I see the business aspect. We got to pay one of them. We chose to pay the front. We paid Harold Landry, paid Bud Dupree. The next big contract's Jeffrey Simmons. So bringing it to you guys now, who would you have rather paid, Jeffrey Simmons or AJ Brown?
Then you go ahead, because for me to answer that, there's other planets I need to put into the solar system before I can answer that question. So Vin, go right ahead.
That's a loaded question. I mean, you would like to think you could pay them both. I mean, if the Rams could fucking have everyone and their mother on their team, and Taysom Hill has $100 contract, the salary cap is fake, and you can manipulate it every which way. I don't know. I guess I don't know. It's gun to my head. Probably AJ Brown, to be honest with you, as good as Jeffrey Simmons is. Just because we haven't had a transcendent receiver like this since Derek Mason was good, but AJ Brown's ceiling is way higher than Derek Mason's will ever have been, in my opinion. I
just need to ask you guys this question because I can't talk to no other Titans fan. I talk to my brother. He's a football guy. I talk to my other best friend, Jay. He's another good football guy. But I need your perspective because you're a Titans fan. Both of you.
Yeah. I mean, I would say AJ Brown. I mean, do you want to finish up how you're feeling about that trade, or you want me to just dive into that motherfucker now?
Yeah, go right ahead, man.
Go ahead, man.
Because it's a little different for me. I was born in Philly. My whole family's born and raised there. I've lived in South Jersey my whole life. So my experience was a little different because when anything happens with the Titans, I get, blown up. But when it involves anything with the Eagles, it's way worse. So unlike you guys, I did not see it on Twitter because, like Jared's brother, I like the excitement of the draft. You know what I mean? You can get the picks like a minute or two before the trades. I like the excitement of it popping up on the fucking screen. It's like Christmas in April for me, the draft. So all of a sudden, I have my phone on the couch, and I stand up a lot whether I'm watching a game or, it's like a habit of mine. And I see Titans pop up. And then as I see Titans pop up, my girlfriend's watching with me. I said, Liz, we moved up 8 spots. Something's happening. She goes, your phone's blowing up. I turn to the couch and it's just zzz, 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 zzz. I mean, you guys saw the tweet. My poor fucking mother called me, texted me, left me a voicemail. And then one of my best friends, Blaze, who actually lives in the same condo development as me, calls me. And we have a relationship where I might have called him less than 5 times in my life. So I'm thinking something's wrong. I pick up. I said, what's going on, dude? We're on the clock now. He goes, they're about to break your fucking heart. So I said, dude, why would you, let me watch it. Let me be fucking, all right. He hangs up. And then right before they go to the commercial break, they say, we have a trade. And obviously they said the fucking trade, and the reaction is there on Twitter, TikTok. If you want to see my girl's TikTok, I think it's Alyssa Pags. Sal tweeted it. I retweeted it. We're up to like 14,000 views on TikTok. I got banned last night. Now we're back. We appealed the ban.
There you go.
And we're back, baby. Fuck you, China. I think everyone's fan, especially fans like us three who, have a certain loyalty to the team because we're from an area very random that's not Nashville. You know what I mean? So it's obviously going to be a little more reactionary because of how, passionate we are. And obviously you're fucking mad. You see the war room and you just, I was mad at Vrabel. I was mad at Robinson. I was mad at the promises they made 2 weeks ago on the radio. And, Sal saying he's going to get rid of his tattoo if they trade him. I'm saying I'm going to walk to Nashville and protest it. It's just, we didn't believe it would happen. And we felt like Vrabel and Robinson reassured that. And you felt like almost when you saw what we got for it, if we were going to trade him, I would have liked, an extra 2, maybe another 3 in there, maybe a 2 next year, like a 1 and a 3 this year or 2 next year. I just felt like the compensation for what the player he is and the player I think he can be was a little less. You knew we were probably taking a receiver after that. And listen, I hope Treylon Burks is the next fucking AJ Brown, whoever the fuck, DeAndre Hopkins, fucking Tyreek Hill, all of it molded into one, Devontae Adams, but that's yet to be seen. So in the moment, it was hard to feel happy that we got Treylon Burks because, like Sal said, our best franchise receiver since Derek Mason is now gone. And not only is he gone, but it's extra difficult for me because imagine if he got traded to the Giants or Jets, how many people would be hitting you up. Imagine if he got traded to the Giants.
It happened already with Corey Davis. It happened once already.
Little different.
But AJ Brown's a little different.
Little different.
Yeah, I know.
Different. Way worse in my opinion. But it was just very reactionary. But not to talk in circles. After you cool down, and we're 3 hot-headed Italians from Jersey, so people understand why we're a little more quick to the punch when it comes to reactions. But after you calm down and realize what I think this team's trying to do, I think we're prioritizing our defense because we know it's championship level, and we're retooling the offense for the next, hopefully, generation of Titans players in Willis and Burks, and who knows what this running back's going to be like. He's a little not as big as Henry, but 6'3", 230. He's not small. So you kind of see maybe they're trying to, mimic their, what they currently have for something a little younger and a little cheaper. So you see what the vision is. You see what the plan is. John Robinson and Mike Vrabel and Amy Adams-Strunk have made this team relevant the last 6 years, which is something we weren't for the longest time. So you have no, you have no choice but to trust it. And I'd like to apologize as well. I said, this is where it ends for me. I'm done. I did not mean that. Obviously, when it comes down to it, I may be a lot of things, and one of them is loyal to a fault. So, it doesn't really matter who's wearing the jersey. If you're wearing it, I'm supporting you. So, although I do have a fish, and his name was AJ, and I changed it to Treylon. So,
Good.
I wanted to make that official.
Good.
But yeah, enough with me. Salvatore. Let's hear what I want to check on your father. Is he all right? How did he
He's a
handle
lot
it?
better now. He's a lot better after Saturday, and we'll get
Okay.
into that in a minute.
We all have fucking heart failure.
Which I'm sure wasn't the case for Jarrett, but I digress. So I thought really long and hard over the past couple of days of how I was going to try to condense this into the most concentrated, not rant, but just kind of my input as I can, because I don't want to go on a 30-minute tangent, which I could do and not even realize I'm doing. So with that being said, what just happened over the past weekend, in my opinion, was all of the stars aligning for an absolute shitstorm. Okay, a lot of things needed to happen a specific way for us to get to where we are right now. Okay, so I'm going to go through them quickly. The number one thing is Ryan Tannehill. Okay, he's not the number one thing in no particular order, but he is a piece of this, because I'm telling you right now, if the Titans had an elite quarterback, there's no way they're letting their number one receiver go. Okay, if Jamar Chase wants an extra $4 million when his rookie deal is coming to an end, they're going to give it to him because they have an incredible relationship and they are the heartbeat of the team. If Diggs isn't going anywhere from Buffalo, I'm pretty sure. Justin Jefferson ain't leaving Minnesota now. They don't have an elite quarterback, but the point I'm making is, because of his lack of success when it matters most, I think that did have a piece of the pie as to why we let this guy go. Not the major issue, not the focal point, but one of the legs. Second leg, he's kind of got an ass clown of an agent. Okay, so basically, from what I've heard, this guy represented Mike Williams and Chris Godwin, who are pretty, I'd say, high caliber receivers. They're not elite, but I think Mike Williams is
top 15 both.
Mike Williams I think is above average, and Godwin, I would say, is above average. They got less than Christian Kirk. So that kind of set the wheels of motion for this idiot that, like, oh, you know what? I guess I got to do something crazy now because I got Debo and AJ who are in DK who are in this, kind of frantic state about what they want and when they want it. And, the fact that he didn't intervene when, like, clearly Debo and AJ wanted their conversations to be seen by others. And I think he is an incompetent agent to allow things to go as they went. Now, he's still got the money that I'm sure he wanted. So at the end of the day, he probably doesn't give a shit. But for preserving players from where they get drafted, and, if you want to promote how you grow talent in the areas they're drafted, not the best look the way you went about this. And third of all, AJ Brown. And every single minute that goes by, I blame this guy more and more and more, because the bottom line is, you can believe what you want. You can believe whatever you want. But from the evidence that I see, it seems as if this guy wanted out basically a month ago. And in my eyes, he asked to get traded a month ago. And then after he got asked to get traded, he shut all communication off with everyone. And then John Robinson said, you know what? He pulled out. He is from the South, fellas. We all need to remember this. He's from the South, and he said, you know what? Fuck you. Fuck you. You want to shut off communications, and that's fine. I'm going to do what I think is best for the team. And he got the call the morning before, and he said, let's work on it, and he did. Okay, the people that think that John Robinson woke up on Thursday morning and said to himself, you know what I want to do today?
Exactly.
I want to trade the greatest receiver this franchise ever had. I want to trade the player that fills half my stadium with the jersey that he wears. I want to trade the player that's not even done with his rookie deal yet. No, folks, he didn't want to do that. There's a reason you saw Mike Vrabel borderline throw up after that deal was done. He was sick to his stomach. John Robinson was sick to his stomach, but they did what they thought was absolutely necessary. And in my opinion, with all the evidence that's in front of us, was necessary to benefit the team the best they could. Because what they could have done, which is what I heard a lot of people say over the past weekend, well, they had him for another year. Why didn't they just keep him for another year? Well, here's why. You're going to have to pay him whatever you're going to have to pay him. And we're forgetting how he basically said, I'm not touching grass. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what we're hearing. And it sounds like the evidence points in that direction.
Yeah.
So you didn't really have the year if he's going to hold out. And then, you hold out and it just wasn't going to work. So I'm not upset at John Robinson at all. Good riddance to AJ Brown. The fucking picture on my wall is off already. It's already off. It's in the closet. I'm going to try to sell it. The fucking jersey's out of the closet. I'm done with them. I'm absolutely done with them. And then watch that fucking press conference with that fucking smirky on his face the
Fucking
whole
disgusting.
time. Now, like I said, I'm not going to. He's not a Titans fan. He got drafted by them. He wants his money. His best friend plays for the Eagles. I get it. But show some respect to the people that really backed you. What I saw in that interview gave us, his fan base in the NFL, zero respect. And anyone watching this might say, you're an idiot for thinking that he should give a shit about his fan base that was drafted him. But I think it is important. And he completely just basically said, I don't want to talk about it. He said, I'm not a regular season guy. Like, zing, zing, we can't get any fucking progress in the postseason. Okay, we get that. So, you know what? Good riddance, and that's it. So as far as the future, I have another thing I want to get into, but I'm going to hold off on that because that'll be another tangent. So I want to get on to our next topic here. We're going to break down each pick. Obviously, some picks we're going to spend a little less time on because we don't know them from a fucking hole in the wall. But that's just the NFL draft once you get into the 6th, 5th, 7th round. So, we touched on Treylon Burks a little bit. Jared, what are your expectations for him in 2022 if this roster is to stay as it stands right now?
Well, first, like to talk about Treylon Burks. I have no life as a Titans fan, as probably you guys do. And what you do when you draft a player, you watch tape on the players. I've watched a lot of tape on these players, especially one certain one, but we'll get to him later on. But for Treylon Burks, just to throw some stats at you, he averaged 91 receiving yards since 2019. He's the first among SEC wide receivers. So that's Williams, that's the other Enclave, and then all the Ohio State. I mean, not Ohio State. You get it. Whatever. Mm-hmm. All those wide receivers. So coming into this year, he, just seeing it, the big plays with the screens, how Todd Downing plays the offense. We were a big screen team last year. He has splash plays potential. So, I mean, just like an average, like let Robert Woods, funnel into the offense, just like a 700-yard, 800-yard productive year would be okay with me.
Vin?
He played in the SEC and he put up phenomenal numbers, and I like his size. I'm just kind of, I believe it when I see it kind of person. And, I don't know if I'm as mad, I hate to say it, at AJ Brown as both of you might, be. I get it, became a pissing contest, and John Robinson, you're right, definitely happened a while ago. And, he got his money, and good for him. You know what I mean? He caked $100 million at 24 years old. He could cake another $100 million.
But he didn't cake $100 million real quick because only 56 of it is guaranteed.
57, yeah, but he's 24. He should live out this deal. He should live out this deal if he stays healthy.
You know what the incentives are, because if it's playtime, then he's got something to worry about.
Absolutely. There's 6 games. What I'm saying is, I feel like in the NFL, sometimes it's not personal. Sometimes it just never is. It's a fucking business, and this is how it worked out. When you have a player like Derrick Henry who said, I love being here and took a pay cut to be here, obviously as a fan, you value that more. But AJ Brown, good luck in Philly, dude. I get to watch you 17 times a year now. Treylon Burks, he played in the SEC, put up good numbers. I like his size. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I hope he's Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, DeAndre Hopkins-esque, but we'll see. We'll see. He, I have faith, but, we'll see.
Yeah. So the organization obviously took the stance when they talked about their draft class and specifically their first round pick that they didn't draft Treylon Burks to replace AJ Brown. Well, I can be the first one to tell you that is a gigantic crock of shit. Okay. They definitely drafted Treylon Burks to replace AJ Brown. Okay. His number one comparison coming out of the draft was AJ Brown. Okay, they have the same type of play style. They're crazy yak players, And he's clearly a cheaper version of AJ Brown since we could not retain him because of the situation at hand. So
He
you
could also
can,
be here for 5 years, not to cut you off, because we got him in the first round. If
Yeah.
we really want him
An
here.
option.
but
Yeah.
you know what, fellas, we're learning more and more as the years go on that those 50-year options for receivers, if they live
Yeah.
up to the first round hype, we
Yeah.
typically don't see those.
You
Okay,
hold more leverage as a GM though,
Exactly.
that 5th year.
Yeah, you got some leverage, but obviously John Robinson didn't have much leverage because
Yeah.
he did what he had to do. So, as far as Treylon Burks goes, he's definitely going to be compared to AJ Brown every time he's thrown to, and it's a horrible thing. It sucks that this poor kid who's looking to make a name for himself in the NFL is the only receiver that's coming onto a football team replacing a superstar. No other receiver that's going to a football team this year is doing so, and that's just incredibly unfortunate. Does he look like he has a good head on his shoulders? Yeah, he looks like he's a country boy, likes to fish, likes to hunt. It's a good thing. And apparently he's got hands the size of Javon Curse's. That's certainly a good thing.
All security.
Yeah, right. So like Vince said, this is a situation where you cannot have AJ Brown expectations because you're setting yourself up for disappointment. But if you set your expectations for a 500-600 yard season, anything above that in your first year for him, I think makes you feel really good about it. Now we'll go into what his role is going to be this year, because even though we're saying he's going to replace AJ Brown, you could say if he's the number 2 guy, you're in trouble. Or is there other things that can be done, which we'll get into in a second, which wouldn't make him the number 2 guy? Anyway, going into our second pick was
Roger McCreary
from Auburn, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about that? I mean, from what I've seen, very fast, another burner. They say he sometimes has a little bit of issues with his hips, but if he can get managed by different coaching in certain ways and learn the NFL level football, that he could be very good because he has all the intangibles. But what were your reactions as far as taking cornerback number 2? And then you can go into what you think of the player individually. Ben?
Yeah, I was surprised. I think all Titans fans were surprised. But before I touch on that, it's funny, Sal, how you said Treylon Burks is going to be compared to AJ Brown his whole career. I said the exact same thing to my girlfriend. I said, now this poor fucking kid has expectations like no other, because he's going to be compared to AJ Brown consciously, subconsciously, probably his whole career, at least the next few years. But anyway,
the only good thing, real quick, the only good thing about that is if he puts together,
very productive first year.
If he puts together,
the Vikings traded Stephon Diggs and Justin Jefferson made them forget about him real fast.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The same thing.
If he puts together 2,500 yards in his first 3 years, then that mindset is immediately gone because you're already exceeded what AJ Brown did. The good thing about this is, well, not good thing, but I'm saying that the optimism you can take away from this is that where Treylon Burks needs to go to eliminate that pressure is not very high, because as great as AJ Brown is, between some of the injury problems and whatnot,
some drops,
we think he's going to be a Hall of Famer, but he's not yet. So, hopefully Treylon Burks can at least be comparable to him in his first 3 years and then go berserk if we pay him. That's that'll be another discussion. But
McCreary.
Go ahead.
I was surprised. I think we all were, but I was pretty impressed with his tape. I think as a quarterback, one of the best attributes you could have is being instinctive, and being able to anticipate things. How about, I don't know if you guys saw the play where he literally ran the receiver's route before he turned his body around, and it must have been a comeback route, and he anticipated the whole thing, made a crazy play across his body, intercepted it, and took it to the fucking house. A lot of plays he made seemed like they were very instinctive. And honestly, in a league where we know points are going to be scored. You have quarterbacks, especially in the AFC, that are going to put up big numbers. You got to be able to stop it. You got to be able to have depth at the position. So was it maybe the biggest position of need? Absolutely not. But guess what? In a conference where you have, I don't even need to list them. I don't even say their fucking names. You know who they are. We're going to need players that could play fucking cornerback. And when you look at Caleb Farley is a question mark. Christian Fulton improved vastly. Elijah Molden had his moments, but we're in no way thinking like, okay, we're set at that position because Jenkins is gone. You know, I know he wasn't great, but had his moments, was a veteran. You know, I think we could use a little more depth at the position. And I think we're looking at a future where we think if Caleb Farley works out, we're going to have Fulton, Farley, Molden, and this kid on our team for the next 4 or 5 years. So I like it. Again, played against top tier opposition in the SEC. Didn't know his name before he got drafted, but
Yeah, for real.
I really think that it could work out, you know, and I understand the move, you know, from a X's and O's standpoint, because like I said, you're going to have to, you know, get some stops, especially in the AFC where it's fucking loaded with talent, receivers, quarterbacks, all the fuck over. You know, I don't hate the move. Was I surprised at first? Absolutely. But, you know, like we said, we're a little more reactionary than most people. But when you take a step back and realize what their plan is, you know, I did not hate the move.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, early, like coming out when you're looking at the draft, you're like, holy shit, a cornerback in the round 2. That's a little early. That's a reach, blah, blah, blah. But now you sit back like we're doing right now and analyzing it. You're saying to yourself, all right, we got a young, really core cornerback. The average age I think I saw today was between 22 to 24 is our oldest cornerback. So I mean the kid's good. I seen some tape on him. He locked up Jamar Chase at LSU. I seen a little bit of that game film. From what I got out of it, the kid's a ball hawk. Like you said, he got trouble with his hips, but I pulled up some stats with him too. He led the SEC in a coverage grade since 2019 at 92.7. That's insane because with all those wide receivers, like I was struggling to say before, in the SEC, that's pretty talented. So, I mean, out of all the cornerbacks in the Power 5, and he had the best coverage grade. That's a plus for our team too, especially in the AFC.
Yeah, no, that is. And when I heard that, I was pretty impressed myself. So I guess I'll squeeze this little piece of the puzzle for me in here because I think it'll make more sense. This whole draft as a whole for me is gonna make sense pretty quickly as far as what the intentions were, and to explain that as briefly as I can. If you're a Titans fan at this very moment, you have to, like literally have to, assume that before week 1 starts, that John Robinson is going to get someone of the likes of Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr., Tyler Lockett, Cole Beasley, one of those guys. And it's a short list.
I think I seen before, it's like 2 hours ago, somebody said that we're looking at flirting with Landry, one of 3 teams.
But then I also heard that he fucking hates Tannehill. So I think that's a little counterproductive.
Yeah, but
money talks. I get it.
We weren't going to trade AJ Brown, so do you fucking and that we weren't interested in Malik Willis.
I know. Nothing is what it seems.
I believe it kind of fucking perfect.
But anyway, so what I mean by that is you have to, as a Titans fan, assume that's going to happen, because if that dude does not happen, and some people might think this is kind of drastic, but I don't believe it to be. If you don't do something like that, you are basically waving the white towel as far as winning Derrick Henry a Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
Because you are not in win now mode anymore if Robert Woods and Treylon Burks are your 1-2 punch and NWI is your security blanket. There's no way that's happening.
And then behind him, you have, Kyle Phillips and all these other guys from.
We're gonna get into him because I like him a lot.
I like him, but come on, as a rookie, make an impact.
Yeah, he's probably practice squad. But again, my point is, if that does not happen, you need to go into this season understanding that we are in legitimately the middle of not a full rebuild, obviously, but a constructive type rebuild, which I did say on our last show. Anyway, so assuming that does happen, then this draft makes a lot of sense because, of course, you have to take wide receiver 1 if you're trading AJ. Then you get a corner, and if you in a room that, if you kind of look more in detail, is kind of thin. All right, because don't forget, like, Chris Jackson's kind of a starter at this moment. Elijah, obviously Molden is terrific, but he's not really a true cover corner. Like, if you're going to do man coverage, Molden's, I don't think it is going to get as many snaps, but obviously he's still going to play a lot. But what I'm trying to get at is all these picks and where they are, if they don't get a receiver, a legit 1A or 1B, because they would probably be in the same ballpark as Robert Woods, then this season is a complete waste of time. And we're going to get into what I think they should do, which they're not going to do, but what I would do if I was them in a minute.
Same.
But it all depends on what is the last piece of this season puzzle, if it doesn't happen or if it happens. Like the pick of cornerback fast, and we'll see how it translates to the NFL and where he fits on the depth chart once we get into the preseason. Jarrett, you want to throw something in?
As far
I thought you wanted to squeeze something in. All right, so we got McCreary out of the way. Now we're going to go to round 3, pick 1 of round 3. Another name that I'm going to have to hear another 50 times before I say it correctly. I'm sure the two of you might be able to piece it together better than me. Jared, could you give it a shot?
Which one of the two, the offensive lineman or the tight end?
Well, our third pick was the Ohio State O-line.
So Petit-Frere, I believe it is.
Yeah, I'm going to call him Petit. I decided going forward he's Petit.
So Petit.
What's the 3 letters? His first name is what?
Nicholas.
So it's NPF.
F.
NPF. We're gonna call him NPF, just like NPF. Nick Westbrook. NPF. Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on him? If Vrabel gets his first Ohio State guy, big guard. I didn't know why they'd go guard, or no, he's a tackle.
He's a tackle. He played both sides. He gave up 2 sacks in the last 2 seasons, but like that's typical of Vrabel and John Robinson. They like the versatility of the offensive lineman. So I mean, you wanted me to tweet it out, so I'm going to say it on the podcast since I knew we were going to do it. I seen some of the tape. I seen some of the analysts. They say he struggles against really good competition. So people are gonna, hate on it.
That's a positive. That's what you want to. That's what you want to check off your boxes as a scout.
Absolutely.
Doesn't do well against competition. Yeah. All right. So let's get him on the big board.
When I saw that, I was like, Jesus Christ, what the hell's going on here? So I mean, is he like a veteran? Not a veteran. Is he like going to be groomed by a veteran to be the starting right tackle, and then they're going to bump Dylan Radins over to left guard? So we got to see how that all plays out in camp.
Yeah, one of them's end up playing guard for sure, whether it's Radnews.
Yeah, or even that kid that we picked up from Seattle.
I think one of them's not going to be playing at all, unfortunately. But because I think it's very optimistic to think that both of them are going to be starters next year, when one guy played fucking 2 games and couldn't even get on a fucking squad until they had no other options.
I have names written down that I would like to see them go after later on in the podcast. Like
okay.
Said, who do you want to see? So we'll get into that too.
All right, Vin, what do you think of
NPF? No, NPF. No, yeah, NPF. Yeah, I mean, listen, did I know his name before the fucking draft? No, but I don't think many people are too high on, offensive linemen outside the ones that get picked in the top 10. There's a lot of them. So, but I mean, let up 2 sacks in 2 years. Could be a potential replacement for Luan next year, because nobody's fucking safe, obviously. So, I do think they're going to, try and get Radnews and him on the field at the same time this year. I mean, Radnews did play pretty decent in the games. I think he can play guard.
Especially that 49ers game. He held his own.
Yeah, I mean, we're a little thin at offensive line, I mean, outside of, Brewer is okay, I guess. I don't know. Ben Jones is long in the tooth. Luan's been inconsistent, so I have no issues with adding an offensive lineman early because you got to build your team inside out. especially for a team that's predicated off a power run game, so yeah, I mean, we'll see what he is, massive human being. I would like to see him fucking in December with Henry fucking right up his ass. Pause, but you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying, though. I mean, that's the identity of this team. We want to fucking run down your throat, and you need offensive linemen to do that. So I'm never gonna hate. It's never the sexy pick, but
Yeah.
MPF is
Need
got
him. Need
my
that.
best wishes.
Yeah, NPF. It remains to be seen what his role will be. It seems like every time offensive line seems to be in need of ours, we decide to take him in the third round or the second round or whatever. And I can't say too much because I never want it. So I can't talk shit when I go into the draft saying I'm gonna fucking kill someone if we take an old lineman in the first round and then get mad when we take one in the third. I'm just saying, like, I'm hoping Tennessee has a better game plan in mind than having, two guys within the first 2 years of their career starting on this football team this coming season. So we'll see how that plays out. Looks like a big body. Looks like, I heard his interview, and it sounded like, he's ready to play, and we'll see how that turns out. NPF, we will hopefully get used to saying that nickname in a positive way instead of POS, because then we'll just start calling him POS if he doesn't do well. So now we go into our fourth pick of the draft. This is a name I wanted from the very jump. This is a name I wanted at 26. And somehow we get him 63 picks later. Trade up to get him, which was clearly in my eyes, not really desperation because it's the end of the third round, but they were obviously worried about somebody else jumping up because all the other teams in front of them, which was like three teams, they all have like elite quarterbacks. So there was no reason for them to think that they were going to take him. But anyway, we select Malik Willis, Liberty quarterback, with the 86th pick. And this was something that I think a lot of people hoped for, but kind of drew it up as a pipe dream because, again, this quarterback class wasn't anything to write home about. So no matter who you took, the odds apparently were against you that they were going to be much of anything as far as an NFL career. But of course, there's the top guys are going to get drafted. And these were the top 5 or 6 guys. And this was my favorite guy who some people thought was going to go be the first quarterback to be taken. He wound up being, I believe, the 5th. Malik Willis, fellas. Jarrett, I'll let you start because you definitely were outspoken about how against this you were. And I know at this junction you probably still are. But what do you think this is? What do you think we're doing here, taking him in the third round?
I mean, first of all, I want to say I am not attacking the person. I'm attacking the football player. I love Malik Wilson as a person.
Willis.
Willis.
He's going to be our fucking quarterback.
No, he's not.
Years maybe.
No, he's not. And I'm gonna explain from this point on about RT and him going forward. So it was a great value in the third. I see it. He has all the intangibles. He has a great mindset and attitude. But coming into it, there's a reason why he dropped, and a lot of these quarterbacks dropped late into the draft. Okay. The kid's very raw. He played in a weak ass conference. I'm reading off the paper because there's a lot of notes I wrote off for this, and I've been watching a lot of film on this kid. He has footwork issues. I watched a lot of accuracy. The accuracy issues is ridiculous, along with his pocket awareness. Yeah, he can scramble and throw the ball a million miles, just like a Josh Allen. Me and Vin were talking about it when we saw his pro day, when we were talking on the podcast before we came on here.
I hate pro days in general. That was an attack on pro days, not as much.
Yeah, but still, let's see these quarterbacks go on a 7-on-7, not just college play. Okay. And the situational football. I mean, the kid's raw. He's got a lot of talent. So I'm not going to bash anything. He's like a first read kind of quarterback I've been seeing. And I seen one guy, which I really liked, and I jotted down. He's a thrower of the football. He's not a passer of the football. If you guys get what I'm saying there.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't get what that means.
You have to anticipate what your wide receiver is doing, and he can't anticipate on the breaks, and he's just the first read quarterback. Yeah, he throws the ball, a mile down the field. I get why they took him. It was great value in the third, but I still don't think he's going to beat out Ryan Tannehill. I think Ryan Tannehill is going to have the push that he needed from Willis versus Logan Woodside, because I think Tim Kelly coming into the offense now is going to run timeout. Let me just finish. It's going to be short. Tim Kelly coming into the offense, running the 12 personnel, which if no one knows what 12 personnel, listen to this.
He's in his 13th year, Jared.
No, listen.
What the fuck is this guy gonna do? He's 13.
Listen,
he's not a rookie.
Ryan Tannehill, he led the fucking NFL with a 117 passer rating under Arthur Smith. And what kind of personnel? The highest. Look, where is it? I have it written down somewhere. It was the highest in NFL history, and they were in 12 personnel. We fell to 17th last year under Todd Downing in 12 personnel. I mean, you can't put the blame all on Ryan Tannehill.
And they were still the number one team in the AFC.
Yes, obviously, but still, let's see what he does now with competition behind him and 12 personnel bringing back.
Can I say something? Because you can't even fucking stop. You can't even say it with a straight face, Jared. What? We're talking about a guy who's fucking in his mid-30s, and we need to have a 2-year-old make him step his game up.
You're worried about him throwing
$1 billion in the NFL already.
You're worried about turnovers and everything. This kid is turnover prone. He struggles against fucking Ole Miss. He had thrown 3 interceptions against Ole Miss. He's playing Army, Louisiana, 3 interceptions, 2 interceptions.
And who's he throwing? You think he's throwing a fucking Lynn Swan?
Doesn't matter. You're in the fucking the independent football league. You're not in the SEC or the Big East or the Big Ten. But the competition's horrible.
You're not going to dominate Ole Miss when you got fucking.
He threw for 28 fucking 100 yards and 27 touchdowns with 12 interceptions in the independent league.
Yeah.
Hey, McNair went to a 1 AA school. So
I'm not worried about that. McNair is 10 times. When they're comparing McNair and this fucking kid, it's light and day. Until he wins me an AFC championship game and gets to the Super Bowl, I will say you're better than McNair. At this point,
no, I didn't say McNair, but I'm just saying, sometimes, you get these players from these random fucking schools that, they could play ball.
I'm not saying he can't play ball. He's a great athlete. He's a great person. He struggles against situational football.
He struggles against teams that are miles better than him, the team he plays for. What do you think he's gonna? You think he was gonna throw for 400 yards against Ole Miss? Do you know how much better those corners are than Mary Mother of the Blind that he's playing in week 1?
Absolutely, but what about Campbell, where he's throwing for fucking 217 yards, where you should be lighting it up against Campbell? Okay. Who the fuck is Campbell?
Who the fuck is Campbell? I don't know who Campbell is.
Where's it at? I like to know.
I have no idea. Ask Siri.
But what I want to know is what do you think fucking Brian Kelly is gonna do for a guy who's old enough to be my fucking
Tim Kelly? Almost. Tim Kelly is gonna bring back the 12 personnel, and it's gonna help Brian Tannehill thrive again, because there's a lot more play action involved with 12 personnel. Now that you have Hoop and you have Okonkwo, I said it right, Okonkwo, yeah. And then you have Burks and Woods right there with Derrick Henry. It's play action with the both of them. It's more user friendly. I guarantee you guys are laughing right now.
I'm not laughing at you. I know at the situation. Ryan
Tannehill is going to have a hell of a year.
Yeah, he probably. I know. I agree with you that
this year.
No, I agree with you.
Actually, just because of the fact that we're going to go back to 12 personnel.
You know what? I'll go one further than what you said. I think he's going to have I think he'll have a better year than last year. I think he'll probably have 3,700 yards. Actually, I can't even say that, because as of right now, it's Robert Woods and a rookie. Like, what the? But what I should have said is, okay, they go out and get Cole Beasley. Okay, I just pick a random one out of the 5 that they can go get. They get Cole Beasley. So Robert Woods, Cole Beasley, Treylon Burks, and then Nick Westbrook, if they have to do a 4 wide receiver set. Okay. I think that's a better receiving core than AJ Brown, who's barely healthy, and Julio Jones, who couldn't stay on the field more than 5 minutes. Yeah, I think you have a better offensive team this year than you did last year. So if that is the case, I think he's going to have a great passing year. I think he'll have 37, 4,000, 4,100 yards. maybe 30 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. But what you do in the wintertime is what matters. And he ain't doing it then. We know that.
I know
It's a
that.
fact.
But last year, the offense, we all blew up Todd Downing. The offense struggled. There's no way that he should not have thrown that football, the interception. We're going back to the Bengals game. He played like shit.
Spiral, bro. Jesus.
I know. I know. But listen, you're going to compare both of them, and I'm not for the one. I'm for the other right now. So, I mean,
you're holding on, which again, I told you last time, I mean this seriously. I envy the fact that you're still holding on that this Kelly guy is going to come in. I think like he's going to be Tannehill into,
they went away from it. Clearly, they went from 1st to 17th in the NFL.
Okay, but would we all agree that Arthur Smith was a really good play caller?
Yes.
Which I originally didn't. You listen. I couldn't stand Arthur Smith. I wanted him gone so bad on the other show.
After the first year too.
Yeah, and I still don't think he's that good, but compared to Todd Downing, he's very good. That playoff run, our entire offense had to go through Derrick Henry.
Oh, yeah.
And then occasionally you needed a decent throw from Tannehill downfield or a nice slant route or a quick rollout, and he'll do it for you. But then you get to the Chiefs, they shut him down like they've shut the King down the last 3 games, and you've gotten Ugats. You've got nothing. Now, if this Kelly guy comes in and says, okay, we need to stop fucking deciding to throw a screen after we throw for 85 yards down the field. Okay, maybe that changes the Bengals game. I'll give you that. Maybe that changes the Bengals game. But then you got to win 2 more against better competition. And Ryan Tannehill cannot compete in the AFC. Not this year. I said this already once in the other show. This is the strongest conference of NFL talent in the league's history. I challenge anyone to show me a year in which the AFC or NFC as a whole had more talent at the quarterback position than in this year of 2020.
Not even quarterback. Everyone came over from the AFC.
But still, we'll just say quarterback for that matter. Vin used the perfect word. It's a gauntlet, and you're not getting anywhere with Ryan Tannehill. So let's segue now, which I'll say this quickly because I still have been ranting when I don't want to. What I think they should do, which they're not going to do, but what I think they should do, which I know they're not going to do, I'm sorry, is play Malik Willis this year. Because listen.
And you're playing for the future. And then you can just chalk Derrick Henry up to nothing.
But you're already chalking him up. Because Tannehill ain't winning shit with him.
I'm telling you.
You either play Malik Willis in hopes that maybe after 17 games this year, and if absolutely necessary, 17 games next year, then the 3rd year, when Derrick Henry's probably on the iceberg of his prime, you can win a championship. If you don't let Malik Willis play, then Derrick Henry's never winning a Super Bowl. If you're putting all your eggs in this kid's basket from Liberty, you have to play him now. He needs to get. He's not going to just all of a sudden. Okay, Tannehill gets us to the playoffs. We lose again. 2023. Boom, you're in there. You were on the bench all year this year, so you're ready to go. That's not how it's going to work. You saw how Josh Allen turned into Josh Allen. He was average for 2 years, and then he became elite, pretty much like that.
Yeah, but Josh Allen's Josh Allen. He was a 1st-round quarterback. There's a reason why all these quarterbacks drop too. They have so many negatives more than positives.
He could have been a 1st-rounder. Everyone and their mother said he was going to be a 1st-rounder until the whole league decided we're not going to let these guys be 1st-rounders.
Because you know why? Everybody's falling in love with the player. I mean, the person, not the player. The person, he's astronomical. Giving back to homeless. Giving back to the homeless. He's a great person. Yeah. As a football player, he's going to struggle. So I wish him the best. Obviously, he's on my team. I'm going to root for the guy. But I'm saying I just don't think he's way too raw. Same thing with Desmond Ridder and Matt Corral. Same shit.
Well, I think Desmond Ridder's problem is he's going to get 1 legit sack from a real NFL linebacker and break into 2 because he looks like well, okay. Thank you for that slight-handed fucking insult, you jerk off. But what I meant to say is he looks like he's about to snap in half. So obviously I would not make in the NFL. Thanks for bringing that up to the fans. But let's dive back into this. Vin, before I close out, what do you think? What do you think of Malik Willis? And were you excited? And do you think there's a
I think there's
he
a
plays
chance. Yes,
this
I
year?
do think there's a chance he could be a good NFL quarterback. Who knows how good? I don't know. I look at this plan as if obviously I know, Mahomes is Mahomes, but a plan similar to the Chiefs when they knew Alex Smith. Everyone and their mother and Chiefs fan base knew that was his last year there. We know this is Tannehill's last year there. Sal, I couldn't disagree with you more. Tannehill needs to play this year. It gives us the best chance to win this year. We still have an elite defense, and I feel as though we think we could plug and play some offensive players that could make us, with a little bit of luck. Hey, listen, the AFC Championship game wasn't an anomaly. We went to the AFC Championship game, the wild card round, the divisional round. We're knocking on the door. Tannehill has put up good numbers in the past. Am I extremely frustrated with him this year? Absolutely. Do I think his dedication and maybe love for it is there 100% anymore? No. He's made a shit ton of money. He's been in the
That's
league.
important.
It is very important, but
but like,
listen. And not only that, you're a jerk off if you pay your backup quarterback $35 million. If it gets to the point where he's dog shit and it's evident he can't play anymore, he's going to be our quarterback.
Well, you already look like a jerk off for moving the money this year so you can bring in a fucking parent Pro Bowl wide receiver that couldn't stay on the field and couldn't wait to get the fuck out once we were done with him. So you already look like a major jerk off because the Julio thing was an epic disaster.
Hey, I'll never fault them for taking a chance.
I'm not going to fault them either, but why are we worried about the money? Like, who gives a shit about the money? The money's there. It can't go anywhere. So
I hear you. I hear you.
And another thing, 2019 was an anomaly because you needed Derrick Henry to have damn near 200 yards every game
but
to
Sal,
win.
he's knocking on the door for a while now. He made a deep run that year. Look at all those years.
What door have we knocked on the last 2 years?
Well,
the playoffs. That's it. And how many times are we making another thing? How many times are we making the playoffs if Deshaun Watson's
How many years did the Ravens knock on the door before they won in 2013? How many years did the Ravens knock on the door in 2000 before they won in 2013? A team with a good defense, with a quarterback who's good, not great, with talent around it. It is impossible. Do I think it will happen? No. Ryan Tannehill gives us a better chance to win this year than Malik Willis. Okay. It's
winning the division. Yes, I agree. Outside of that, let me ask you a question. How many do we make the playoffs 3 years in a row if Deshaun Watson doesn't get into this predicament he's in or was in?
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of people forget about this. We had a gift. He was
on the team the 2 years prior. He was on the team. We almost played him in the AFC Championship. We won that division.
Okay, then last year. You think we're easily winning? You think we're easily winning the AFC South?
The way our defense was playing, absolutely.
Yeah, I think there's that's neither here nor there at this point. But this team is good, and I think it is what it is with Tannehill at this point. We have to suck it off for one more fucking year, for better or for worse. Do I think Malik Willis can be good? Because let's talk about this kid. That was the point of talking about the draft. Is Tannehill gets us all triggered. Obviously, you two just went at it, and now me and him are going at it. So Tannehill, I get it, guys. I get it. But let's give Malik Willis the respect he deserves. He's very talented. I love the fact that I think he's a good leader. I like him as a person, giving the clothes to the homeless. Saw him fucking praying all the time. I love it. Do I think he could be a good quarterback? Sure. To me, it's 50-50. And guess what? If it don't work out, it was a 3rd round pick. It's a quarterback heavy draft next year. I mean, you want to give him competition when Tannehill's gone? I don't know. But he's very talented, has a cannon of an arm. And I think I'm going to reiterate what I said when we first started. We know the strength of this team is on the defense. That's why we're going to pay Simmons. That's why we're drafting more at defense. I think we know we need to retool a little bit where we can remain competitive this year and still be good in the future, a la Treylon Burks, a la Malik Willis, a la another offensive lineman. The defense is there. We know we need to retool the offense a little this year to remain competitive this year, next year, and 10 years down the road.
Well, we didn't retool the offense this year. We did not. We didn't retool it. We got worse.
We got potentially a new quarterback. We got a new number one receiver. Got a new number two receiver. Retool. I'm not saying that it's going to be a better offense than it was last year.
That would be retooling, though. If you want to.
Well, what did the Chiefs do when they drafted Mahomes? You know what I mean? That's the plan that we have. You know, we're going to sit him for a year, hope he learns behind Tannehill, who is a veteran, and hope that he's ready next year. And I think he has the ability, but Sal, I think you could crush a kid's confidence if you throw him in there before he's fucking ready.
Especially with this raw.
I think that's the biggest myth ever. Why do you have more confidence? Why do you have more confidence by sitting on a fucking bench for a full year and just throwing?
He's 22 years old. He hasn't played in these against these Power 5 schools and everything else.
He's eventually going to have his first NFL game.
Absolutely.
Sal, so you just said the competition he played against was way better. That's why he struggled against those good college teams. So you think you're just going to throw him from fucking Liberty against fucking NFL talent and he's going to succeed?
When you have NFL blocking and NFL route runners and the best running back in the world behind you, it's going to look a little different. If you have that raw talent,
NFL defenses, he has the raw talent, but it doesn't always translate like that, dude. It takes fucking time.
That's why I'm telling you, he's a thrower of the football, not a passer of the football. So you got to develop that. You need good coaching.
That's fine, but then please, then we're waving the white flag as far as getting Derrick Henry a Super Bowl.
Well, I want the Tennessee Titans to win a Super Bowl. Would I love Henry to be?
You know what I mean. But you know what I mean.
I get it. I'd love for him.
What I mean is we're prolonging it.
Listen, there's no one that more wants it than
Ryan Tannehill is not winning the AFC, folks.
You got to rely on the defense. Neither was Joe Flacco.
Defense doesn't win championships anymore.
All of them.
Defense doesn't win championships anymore. Did you watch the Bills-Chiefs game? There was 800 yards thrown and 7 touchdowns.
Who they have on defense?
Oh, Buffalo didn't have a good defense last year? Oh, please. Okay.
It was a cupcake schedule.
Oh, stop. You are just reaching now.
They had a cupcake
schedule. Come on. And what, Fred, the Chiefs defense didn't play elite for the whole last half of the year? Come on. They didn't get their shit together all around. Those were two really good teams all around. With
final score of the Super Bowl was 23-20. It wasn't a fucking blowout. It wasn't wasn't 55-54. Sal, you need a good team to win in the NFL.
Yeah.
Offense, defense,
and the most important player on the team needs to show you.
Okay.
After his third year,
I'm with you
that he can.
But he still gets this
pressure
chance to win this year.
What's all getting thrown out the door right now is I'm gonna give Tannehill one more shot, like you guys are saying. This is probably last year, but last year was so bad that everybody was hurt. He was throwing to fucking me, you, and Sal. Last year, he had no continuity with the offense. He was throwing to different receivers every year. His numbers obviously went down drastically.
He threw continuity out the window now. So what? You want continuity? It's gone. All continuity.
We'll see what happens during training camp now.
It's gone though. There's no continuity, and I put that on Twitter.
Four new receivers.
That was the biggest selling point for people who were trying to convince any of us that Ryan Tannehill could still get it done in 2022. Is the continuity? Fourth year in the system. You took away the guy who literally researched your career, and you replaced him with a guy who's a rookie, and then you gave him a guy who odds are might not even be ready at the beginning of the year, and a guy who probably wouldn't be on half the NFL rosters in Nick Westbrook. Realistically, half the NFL rosters probably couldn't find a spot for him. So
good special teamer.
All right, I'm muting myself for a few minutes. What I'd like to hear from Vinny now, since I think we're just going to put a pause on the Malik Willis talk, because in reality, he would have to look like Michael Vick, or he would have to look like, the best thing since sliced bread in order to even sniff that job this year. So
a little bit of real estate in all of our heads, Ryan Tannehill. So we should, so let's Sal wants him now. He likes the kid, thinks he has the
I don't
ability.
want him now. It's just a matter of it. No, I do want
I'm
him
talking
now.
about
I don't
Malik
want him
Willis.
now. I
I'm
want
talking
him
about,
now.
I'm
Yep.
talking about, no, I'm talking about Malik
He
Willis.
he
You
took the
want him
ring off of
back now.
Tannehill already. He's
He
done.
has a little more faith in him than Jared and I do, and that's fine. And we'll see. But you know as well as I, Sal, as diehard as it is, and you said it from the jump. You know it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
We're going to live with Tannehill this year. I think you'll get some packages like Treylon Scott in certain situations.
Oh, that's a must.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm excited to fucking see it, you know. But we'll see.
All right, yeah,
all,
we're not going to see
yeah.
Willis. That's the bottom line. So let's get back into this with the 5th pick overall by Tennessee. They take Hassan Haskins, running back out of Michigan, a 131. We tried to watch some tape on him. There wasn't a ton available, believe it or not. I mean, there was enough, but not that much. Reminded me a little bit of like a Dalvin Cook style runner. The organization, of course, or I should say Michigan, of course, raved about him as they should, or we all knew that they would. But what his role is on this team, if he makes it, I would assume would be to replace, Deontay Foreman's role. Obviously Hilliard's still in the mix as well, but it's still a fairly decent pick as far as where he went. 4th round isn't 7th rounder by any means, so I think they have intentions of getting him in the mix here. Where do you guys see him fitting?
I was surprised by the pick at the position. Didn't think we were gonna go running back there. Maybe real late, but guess what? You can find a good fucking running back anywhere in the draft. It happens almost every year. Like the kid's size, played against elite talent. I think they're going to try and see what he has this year because we all know that, not saying he's going to be a Henry replacement, but he's probably got only 1, maybe 2 years left with this team. We need to, if we want to prolong his career, we're going to need someone to take the load off of it because the 250 carries a year is no longer a thing. We need, I'm going to say maybe even less than 200 carries if we want to ride him in the wintertime when it comes to playoff football, if we want to prolong him maybe an extra year. So I think, like you said, Sal, we're going to get to see this kid early. I'm excited for it. I 6'3", 230, fits our mold of football. There's no denying what we're trying to do style-wise. So, yeah, I think we're going to see him early and often, unlike Malik Willis. But, how do you feel about it there, Salvatore?
I mean, yeah, it sounds like a Titans of 2024 pick to me. I think they probably, I don't know, 4th round pick. I mean, it's all speculation at this point. For all we know, he could be on the practice squad this year. We don't know what's going to happen. You could watch his tape. He played good competition, so he's got that going for him. But we don't know if he plays really well. Then you're looking at it. Well, all right, you took him decently high in the 4th round, and is this going to be like the guy you're looking to pair with Malik Willis once he gets his chance? You don't know, but I like his size. I like, how he could be that extra guy you put in there if you need to, that can get you an inch or a foot or a yard, because he seems like a bruiser. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see, but it's a need that they needed to fill because you can't put all your chips in Hilliard's basket because his sample size is incredibly small. So I didn't hate it. Moving forward, probably my 3rd favorite pick of this draft, not until I watched his film and watched him speak. But the 4th round at 143, we got
Chig Okonkwo.
Yeah, the last name is fine. But I was gonna try to say his full name, and I'm not gonna do that. So we're gonna call him Chig Okonkwo. Tight end out of Maryland. Really, you look at him, oozes Jonnu Smith, size, run style, hands. But like I said, what sold me on it so quickly was to hear him talk. how excited he was, but just you could sometimes get a vibe by the way the guys react, the way they talk. Like sometimes these guys already have that mindset, like I made it, like I'm here now, and that's kind of how he seemed to me once they talked to him and you saw social media and whatnot. And he had the line, tight Nate, you're gonna fall in love with me over the next 4 years. Love hearing things like that. It reminded me of Jeffrey Simmons when he said, I guarantee you I'm going to win you a Super Bowl at that season ticket holder event, which obviously I wasn't at, but I saw the video of. We think he can do that. So I'm happy with it. I'm excited for him. I think he could flourish very quickly considering what we have at tight end right now. So what do you guys think about this fella from Maryland?
I think he's good. Like you said, going back to how he was saying that he was excited, coming back, getting drafted by the Titans and everything like that. If you go on his Twitter, he pinned from the previous year that he's going to be the best tight end in college football this year. So just to see that he's motivated and everything going into it,
he wasn't, but it's good to see.
Yeah, no, it's good to say.
Yeah,
but his motivation to be the best. But going into it, he was the fastest tight end in the combine. The kid's big, he's fast. The plays on tape, they're splash plays I was watching and everything. Him and Hooper, I think, are going to be a good 1-2 combo. You have Hooper, who's more of a blocking tight end, but Hooper can catch when he's thrown to. So going back to it, I think the implement of the 12 personnel, I think he's going to thrive in this offense this year.
Yeah, I'm really curious to know if Isaiah Likely was still on the board.
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't.
I texted you. No, I know. I'm saying I know he wasn't. I'm curious.
Like above that.
If he was, which way they would have went, because it seems like there was a fucking run on tight ends, fast. So obviously I was a little biased towards him, but no, this kid, massive dude, athletic freak. I think we are, to use the word again, kind of retooling for the future a little bit. You look at quarterback, you look at running back, you look at receiver, you look at tight end. We took one of each in the first 5 rounds. So like Sal said on Twitter a bunch of times, maybe this is the 2024 draft where we're
you keep saying retooling, but like we retooled the defense last year and look what it turned into. Now we're getting depth.
Yeah, and I'd like to pair with Hooper and our boy Jeff Swain can enjoy being our 6th offensive lineman because he's going to do a lot of fucking blocking. So yeah, I like him. I like what Sal said too, that he wants to fucking be here. He was confident. He said you're going to fall in love with me over the next 4 years, or maybe after the next 3, and then they'll trade me. Who knows? Yeah, we'll see. I like his attitude. Like, fits the identity of what the team's been doing for sure. So,
Yeah, like I think that a lot of guys say things like that. Not all of them, but a lot of guys do. And at least from my just trying to remember when guys say that, most of the times when you make a comment like you're going to fall in love with me, it shows they have the confidence that they're going to make it happen. A lot of times they do. Like Isaiah Wilson wasn't telling anyone you're going to fall in love with me in the next 4 years. And I don't think guys like, Darrington Evans, who got drafted earlier, wasn't saying nationally you're going to fall in love with me in the next 4 years. So it's just something good to hear. Now, it could be a disaster. It could be a complete joke and not even make the team. But I like his chances. I'll say that. I like his chances of being on this team and having an opportunity to make his presence felt early. So, that's the upside, in my opinion, there. So moving on to round 5 at 163. But Kyle Phillips, excited. I really think he could make the team. I mean, he fills a need.
I think he will.
He's a slot guy. He could. I don't know how much slot he played at UCLA, but he just is a slot guy and is quick, and he can make guys miss.
He made the 3rd pick of the draft go on ice, and
he did. Yes, I did hear that. So, what do you guys thought?
Stingley, you're saying?
Yeah. Look at that highlight. Yeah, he was. I don't know if it was on a punt return or an offensive.
Yeah, that's another thing.
He is very shifty with the ball.
He made a miss, held onto the ball, showed some strength, some sideline tiptoeing ability, scored a fucking touchdown. So, And I like the fact he plays special teams. I feel like we haven't had a true like go-to punt returner or kicker returner. I'm not saying it's the most important position in football, but when you can add someone who's a threat in those, ways, I'm all for it. So I definitely think he will make the team. And Mason Kinsey's going to have another fun season of posting workout videos on the practice squad. I love it, but I think this kid Phillips is gonna make the team, and I think he's going to contribute. I don't know, contribute, but I think they're going to give him an opportunity to show us what he could do. Let's not forget that slot position's kind of open. You know what I mean?
Wide open.
Wide open. And I know we're probably going to sign somebody. I hope we do, but I mean,
no, we won't. Chester Rogers is our answer as of right now. Watch, he's still on the roster, so. But
yeah, so we'll see what happens with him. Like when you get to that 5th round, it's just kind of like, all right, I'm kind of ready to get off at this point, but
taking a swing.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see what happens. Definitely, made some big plays, so.
Yeah, so a lot of upside with Kyle Phillips. We'll see how that transpires over the next coming months. There's 2 guys left. One guy I'd like to briefly talk about. The other one I'd really rather not. I don't think Theo Jackson's making this team. I couldn't find more than 40 seconds of his highlights. I don't even know how many snaps he got at Tennessee in his career, but I'm sure he had a couple flashy moments, but I don't think there's really any chance he does anything. And lastly, Chance Campbell. Guy's really big. And he's a man's man, dude. I mean, he's got a lot of size. He shows a lot of aggression coming off the edge. I mean, I didn't know enough about him. Like, I don't know if there was a chance he could have went a little higher, maybe the end of the 4th or whatnot. But he looks like he's got potential. So
that's a huge special teams role.
I'm not giving him anything. Doesn't seem like he'll make the team.
Yeah, probably not signing Will Compton now.
Yeah, not.
That's the Will Compton's replacement.
Yeah, he's holding on to that. He's doing that like shtick that he posts a picture of himself like every single other day.
That's hilarious, dude.
It's crazy to me. But that's it. So unless one of you guys want to touch on Theo Jackson, if I'm missing something.
I honestly,
on draft part.
That he got signed by the Saints as an undrafted free agent. I kind of thought we could have used another safety just to add some depth. And there's a kid from Auburn, Smoke Monday.
Oh my God, dude, you're really gonna say that?
Get out of here.
Let me tell you something real quick before you even go there. We're sitting at the Penn State. Me and my friends were sitting at the Penn State whiteout this year, and they played Auburn. This kid's name came over the PA system. We almost lost it. Smokey Monday.
That's not real.
That's his name.
He is it's not his real name, but his Insta handle is Before Tuesday. So I love the kid's humor right there. But no, he is a violent safety. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
I've watched him a few times. I watched the bowl game he was in. He actually got called for targeting twice. The first time he got away with it. The second time he got kicked out of the game.
Sign me up.
Yeah, violent safety, downhill tackler. I think will contribute on special teams. And don't be surprised if we hear the name Smoke Monday in the next couple of years. I think the kid is going to be.
You're going to hear smoke. You're going to hear
Smoke Monday, man.
You're going to hear about me smoking myself to death. That's what you're going to hear me about. I don't know about Monday, but I'm going to be smoking Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. With the way this team is at this moment, I'll be smoking every day. So you might as well bring Monday in there.
Well, and I'm going to start smoking.
Yeah, so that being said,
keep an eye on Mr. Monday.
I don't want to talk about Theo Jackson or Chance Campbell. Chase or Chance? Is it Chance?
Chance. We always got to have that one, like, we got to draft that one guy who just sounds like a surfer from fucking South California. Chance Campbell is the one we took this year. Brady Breeze,
yeah.
Chance Campbell,
a Hawaii quarterback. Couple years.
I was gonna say what the something McDonald. His name was.
Oh yeah, is it like Brady McDonald? Something shit like that. I don't know. We like the. We like them southern names.
Kid made a shit ton of tackles. Played in. I hate to be a fucking broken record. Played in a tough conference. So. I think he can make the team as a special team or end of the roster kind of guy. We'll see, but no, I'm not going to talk about Theo Jackson. because
All
we
right.
should smoke money.
Hey, listen, with the way this team goes, Theo Jackson will be second in command under Fulton this year. So if that's the case, we'll definitely be clipping this and eating crow moving forward. But all right, so that's going to wrap up the draft part. Obviously, like I said, everything with this draft relies on one thing, and that's whether or not we bring in one more receiver, and not just anyone, someone who's not 100 years old and someone who has statistics recently that would show you that they're ready to make a huge impact on the team. I named basically the only 5 guys, unless there's trades that go down, which are unlikely, I think, at this point. So we'll see how everything shapes out. But the bottom line is that A.J. Brown's no longer on this team. We have a potential quarterback for the future, and everything in between is anyone's guess. So I think our final thought segment should be whether or not you believe that there is a lick of possibility that there could be a legitimate quarterback battle this year. I think I know the answer, but there's people that get paid to talk football that say that they believe there's a chance that there's nothing set in stone about who will be the quarterback for this team next year. I'd like to know if you buy into that at all.
No.
Okay, I got right to the point, Vin. Jared?
I don't believe in it. Obviously, with our rant we had before, I don't believe in it, especially of the lack of talent, how raw he is. If you want to sit
Lack
him,
of talent we have? Yeah, I agree.
nah, just let him sit and understand the NFL. He's 22 years old. I mean, let him sit, develop, and we'll see what happens from there.
Yeah, well, we will see. We will definitely see. There's certainly a lot we're going to be able to talk about over the next coming months. Once training camp starts, we're going to be dissecting every single one of this kid's throws. And I'm going to be watching with the most joy, probably, hopefully, unless he starts throwing balls all over the place. Then I'm really just going to want to fucking kill myself. So, because then we're really fucked. Because what's going to happen is this is going to be an absolute nightmare. We'll wind up winning the AFC South, get kicked in the first round. We'll be the 18th pick in next year's draft. We'll have to give up every single piece of capital we have to get into the top 5, to get a quarterback. And then we're right back to square one because then this quarterback's going to have to start if Malik Willis is a complete disaster. I don't know. I'm getting Jordan Love vibes if it doesn't go well. So at least we didn't trade up in the first round to get him, right? They traded up in the first round to get Jordan Love.
Yeah.
At least we didn't do that.
Either way, we're gonna look back at this podcast and say
it was either beginning of the
I was
end,
right or you were right. So we'll see what happens.
It's either beginning of the future or beginning of the end. One of us is going to be right. So that's the good news. So we'll definitely we'll be back on. I think probably the best bet would be
once the last of the chips fall in free agency. I think we'll have some things
Yeah.
to say. Sal could tell us how we should have got Odell and we did it, and every touchdown he scores.
That's when we'll sign $1 million.
Golden Tate will be back in the equation.
As a kick in the balls.
Listen, if we're gonna know a lot in the net, once we know that NWI is your third receiver for 2022, then we're obviously gonna have a podcast because at that point I'm gonna be
quickly before we get off though, if we had to pick one that we think like is most likely that we sign and you would like, who would you pick? I want Jarvis Landry.
Jared, go ahead.
I got 4 positions, but I'll go real quick with the wide receivers. So I'll take Landry and Emmanuel Sanders on a cheap deal, on a vet deal. At the edge position, I'll take Jerry Hughes or Derek Barnett. O-line, Dwayne Brown or Riley Reif, and tight end Kyle Rudolph as all depth players.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue Kyle Rudolph would probably be better than what we have now. I think he's probably better than Austin.
Or you still have Blake Jarwin, the Dallas backup. But I mean, just a specific blocking tight end will be, Kyle Rudolph.
Yeah, I mean that's a good list. Definitely guys that we could use. I would I'm not obviously because you both have different opinions, but I think it's night and day that Odell Beckham would be your best bet
Yeah,
If
but
you
money
could get him,
wise, I don't think they're gonna
That's,
do it.
that's
Oh.
I would do it. I would do it now. I was bad in the
oh
season.
yeah,
I said I
after he
wouldn't do it.
fucking won a team the Super Bowl, you do it.
Absolutely, I would do it.
And you could probably get him on a deal that he knows is most likely going to have to be a 1-year prove-it deal.
Prove
So
it deal.
if
Hey, every day that goes by, the likelihood of that being the case gets better and better. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, if
still
you get,
think most likely we probably would go Jarvis just because of the connection. Whether or not he likes Tannehill, they've played together, fits the mold of probably what we're trying to fill void wise in a receiver. So
yeah. I mean, listen, if J-Rob wants to really just put the final nail in the coffin to the fuck you AJ Brown coffin, he would sign Odell for 1 year, 16
yeah.
million, 1 year, 16 million, 22 million with incentives.
Yo, that would be a fuck you move.
And then we'd have Odell wear 11. I mean, that would be if that ever happened, fuck it. I will be so behind. I'll be so behind Tannehill. Somebody might think I have other intentions. That's how behind Tannehill I'll be. If we get Odell and we give him number 11 and we pay him 16 million with 22 in incentives for 1 year, then fuck it. But other than that, it is what it is. Malik Willis is hopefully the future because that's what we drafted him to be. Just because he fell doesn't mean we still spent a 3rd rounder on him. We still traded up to get him. You got him with the hope that he's going to be the future. So we'll see how it all shapes up. And yeah, is there anything else you guys want to throw in there before we call it a night? We got a nice $130 in tonight, which is great. Obviously, there was tons
Like a
talk
Boston
about.
podcast right there.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. It might be a few things I might want to clip out, but other than that, I think one thing here or there I'll probably clip out. But other than that, everything was status quo, and it was a good show. Vin, anything you want to throw in there?
that is it, gentlemen. It was great to be back. I know we communicate pretty often elsewise, but I haven't seen your fucking mugs in a while. So, I'm glad I'm not your girlfriends, but other than that, take it easy, fellas.
That's it. We will be back soon, and as always, tighten up.
I know.
Assalamu alaikum.
Malik the Freak. Remember that.
I like Music City Malik.
That works too.
Yeah.